the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning, and what a great day we have today. Guest on the show is Miss Rebekah Golden. Welcome.
Oh, hi. Good morning, boys. It's good to see you. Miss you guys.
Good to see you too. So you are a powerhouse woman. That's the way I would describe you.
Okay.
Okay, is that all right? Am I allowed? So you know, owned a few businesses, and now you own your latest venture, which is Lovecraft, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about tell us about Lovecraft. What's the concept behind Lovecraft, and how was it born?
So it's changed quite a bit. So it was born with wanting to have another cool space in our North 32nd neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I knew that we really needed a cool little beer bar. And so that's really where it started. So there was a building down the street that was vacant. Somebody abandoned it, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to, try to put a little neighborhood beer bar in there. So we started out with just a small menu, and because we figured people needed to eat if they're going to be drinking beer and wine.
Yeah.
And it really evolved over time into more of a restaurant, honestly. The food took off. People didn't see us really as a bar. They saw us as a restaurant. And so now we're doing all the things. All the things.
Yeah, it was like unfortunately you failed as a bar because you were too classy and cool, and everyone's like, this feels like a restaurant. It's too awesome. Yeah. I remember bringing my kids in there even, and we felt very welcomed and at home, And I know it's not meant for kids necessarily, but when we went in there, it's like, this feels awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I always want to create spaces for everybody, so making sure it felt like a community place was super important, always important to me.
Awesome. So what kind of pivots have you made during the COVID time, and where are you at right now?
So COVID's been interesting. So first of all, we've been open through this whole thing. So as soon as the takeout thing went on, we did that. So it was kind of weird because that space was really built for people to be inside of it.
Yeah.
And enjoy kind of the atmosphere. And to go from just purely takeout, it really almost like sucked the energy out of there. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with people coming in because it was just they were picking up beer to go and their food to go and then just leaving. So we did the whole takeout thing. In the middle of that, we got our full liquor license and we changed our POS system. So it was pretty hectic trying to make all of these changes. We implemented this whole sanitary system where, we were wearing masks in March, right when things happened. So that was kind of weird when it wasn't a mandate and people were walking around with masks and some people didn't like that and other people did.
Sure.
We had this whole system, like 10 steps just to do a takeout order. And then as soon as we were allowed to reopen, we did. And we distanced everything out. We still have our sanitation system, but it was kind of hard to work in the takeout with that because it's such more volume. So we've been kind of trying to work with our space on how to create more of a easy takeout area, I guess, for people coming in.
Now, with you attacking that process, do you feel like because you were forced to, you probably improved that part of your business? So when everything else opens up, it's going to be like, oh, nice, I got this already under wraps.
I feel like there's always opportunities, and sometimes the universe forces you into them. Not that we didn't do takeout before, but it just really changed the dynamic, and now it is kind of a secondary business for us. Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, how is Lovecraft doing? Are you thriving right now?
Yeah, we've actually had a really good couple weeks, maybe even more than that. It was, yeah, I think that because a lot of places have decided to just shut down or just go to takeout only, that really gave us an opportunity to have people come into our space. And because we took the restrictions so seriously with all the distancing, people come in that are a little reluctant, and when they see how we've spaced everything out and how we make sure everything is clean and how we're wearing gloves and we're meticulous about everything, people really taken to that. They feel safe and clean there. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that you're absolutely right. And for anybody listening right now, business owners and actors, we can all take a lesson from this. We did the same thing. We didn't shut down. You know, we found a way to progress forward and find new innovative ways to deliver our products. And then we were always on the forefront. So like before the governor made the school shut down, we shut down like 2 days prior. And then we were ready to open as soon as we were allowed to and whatnot. So,
and innovation too is super key during that time. Like we said about the takeout and stuff like that. And I remember, I just looked it up, the post that you put a little while back about just the renovations that are coming, you know, and you were like, yeah, this stuff is it's pushed back a little bit because of it, but I'm not stopping. Like, and you showed the designs, and I remember just like I was looking at them and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is such a cool thing that like I want to show you guys that even though all this is going on, plans for the future are continuing. Like we're not slowing down basically. And I remember that day just looking at that post and personally just being very encouraged by it.
Aww. Yeah, I this whole time I just feel like we've just been like, whatever's going on, whatever noise is happening, we're just moving forward until we can't anymore, you know, until it's literally impossible. So it's and I really like thrive in these challenges of I never do well when things are just perfect. I feel like I always have to have some kind of challenge that I'm trying to, you know, fix or solve or just accomplish. So it's been kind of fun.
You know what? Speaking of that, I remember you sold one of your businesses, and then you were. What was that like? Did you have a couple of years off, or did you have a different job? Was that difficult?
All the above. I love 32 Shea, which was my first restaurant. I mean, I love the concept of it. Running it nearly killed me inside. It was a huge amount of work for one person, and I also didn't have a lot of restaurant management experience or even knowing how to open a restaurant on my own. So it was really tough. But the day I sold was literally like the best day of my life. The day that the money was deposited into my account, I knew it was a done deal because we closed on a Friday, and then I had to wait until Monday. So I'm just on my phone refreshing. Like the broker told me, it's not a done deal until that money's in your account.
Sure.
But yeah, it was literally the biggest relief, the biggest weight lifted off of me. I knew I had left it in really good hands. The staff I was able to negotiate all of them to stay where they were. Amazing. And then the guys who bought it, they're just rad. They were, I don't know. It was a really cool situation. And we had a broker that was brokering for both of us. So that was another really cool kind of thing. But yeah, best day of my life. And then I didn't even know what to do. I literally sat on this couch right here 4 months. I would wake up and I'd sit here, and then my partner would come home and he'd be like, what did you do today? And I'm like, I made it to the couch. And I wasn't like depressed, but I think I was just exhausted. I was so exhausted. I was so tired, and I just needed, I needed some time to kind of work my brain through what had just happened for 7 years. So, you know, working hard and having a lot of stress and not a lot of sleep, honestly.
Sure.
So, and I slowly started doing things. I took on actually the guys who bought my place. They own a couple different restaurants, and they had hired me to do some restaurant consulting. So that was really fun. And then I was hired by one of their friends who owned a restaurant to rebrand and come up with a whole new concept for her. So
that's neat. You know, I saw here on your bio that you wrote, you're always looking for the next thing, and you said, you know, that's ADD, I guess. Are you self-diagnosed ADD?
Well, you know, so growing up, that didn't really exist in our, you know, I'm 43, so it wasn't like, I guess people who had it probably weren't embraced like they are today. So when I was in college, I just wanted to know, like, why am I so restless? And I just have this motor that's always going, and I was much different than my siblings. So so I went to a psychiatrist or whoever, and they said, yeah, you have ADD. But I never took any prescription drugs or anything like that for it. I just wanted to know, you know, I don't know. I was just curious. So yeah, but I knew I was.
Yeah. We can relate. Our whole team here is actually on that spectrum,
100%,
and diagnosed and everything.
Well, and
I like a sing.
I struggled for the longest time to want to take medicine for it for the same reason, where I was like, well, I mean, I've gotten to this point, and I was like, got a high motor, got like a fun energy, and I was like, I don't want to lose that. And then recently, from the team here, like the encouragement, I was like, all right, I'll go get checked out. And so now I'm on a really low dose, but it's really helped me to zone in to certain things, especially like at the computer. It's hard when you're not on it and you have ADD to like sit there for long amounts of time. And now I notice like I go through certain longer projects that would have taken me a couple of days. Now I'm like, all right, cool, let's just bang through that one thing and then move on. So it's been a really cool experience for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Joey. I think out there with all kinds of mental health, we're not professionals in that area, but there's definitely something to be said for it's fine to take the medicine if that's something that serves your life, and if you don't take the medicine, that's okay too, as long as you can manage what you've got going on. So yeah, I think that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I think too, just quickly, because I know that medicine is definitely, it does help you focus for sure. For me, I was able to research like techniques that really help people with ADD, and organization's a huge one. So there was a time when I would have just sticky notes everywhere, and make a list, and that was like a really effective thing for me, especially with somebody always with a lot of stuff going on. And that way you knew when a task was done, you could just kind of throw that piece of paper away and then move on to the next one.
Organization is a great topic to hit here, because I've been writing on that the last couple months, and I noticed, especially in Lovecraft too, your new restaurant. But we have a love for Lovecraft, and we have a love for 32 Shea, because we are very much connected to this neighborhood here. As a matter of fact, I remember we opened, and then you took over 32 Shea maybe like 7 months or so after we had already opened. So we were like, oh, thank goodness somebody cool is moving in the neighborhood. But I sort of preface this with, in both places that I experienced your hand being a part of it, you always tended to have a very specific place for everything. And it seemed to be well designed and well thought out. But like you take something like 32 Shea and even Lovecraft, they're not massive spaces or anything. But it felt still open, and yet there was a lot of stuff. So like, how do you go about that process?
It's a very random process. I can't even really design the spaces until I'm in them, and then I'm constantly moving things and readjusting and changing everything, honestly.
Yeah.
That sounds exactly like someone I know over here. Like, he continues to move everything.
I drive everybody crazy by it.
I'm like, oh, looks like the whole studio is moved over to the other side. Like, but that's organization and change, and that we've grown every time. So that's super cool.
I think people enjoy it too. Like, I know as customers feel like they're a part of that. They're like, oh, last time I was here, that wasn't here. And then they feel like, oh, I remember when this used to be over there, or when I didn't have the patio at 32 Shea. And now when, I Lovecraft, we're building a patio. So it'll be like, they're going to be part of that whole process. And I think they really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. We have these two industrial lights that are.
I was going to say that.
Go ahead. You can have it.
No,
you just got to jump, man.
Yeah,
you got to jump fast in this podcast. Because I heard the same idea.
Yeah. So we have these lights above our lobby table, and they clip up. So we had them up for like shows and when we did our movie camp and stuff, so they're out of the way and we can move the table. And just on Thursday, Matt was talking to me and Dakota, and he was like, can you get a ladder and just like unclip those, like bring those down? I just want to see what it looks like. And he was like, people are going to think these are new lights. And Dakota and I kind of just like looked at him, and 4 of our students in the adult class go, did you guys get new lights? And we were like, no, they were just clipped up a little higher. And they literally like fought me on it. They didn't believe me. It was so funny.
Yeah, and I'm like, just stay quiet about it. Like you can think that if you want to. It's fine. Yeah, cool. So a little connection to what we do. You were a thespian in high school. Is this right?
Yeah, I was a thespian in high school.
Tell us about that, how that affected you and your creativity. Because, you went to school for graphic design, and you know a lot about websites, and, you worked did you work in sales too?
No, no, I've always been in a creative field. Well, I did project management within a environment, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so tell us about how it was to be a thespian in high school and how that's affected your long-term creative life.
Yeah, you know, well, first of all, I loved electives because I didn't have to sit still. Sitting in class was really tough, and that was before the days where they let you stand in a desk. I wish we had had that growing up. So academically, I just never connected, and I always wanted to do. I mean, I did well in school because I could test really well because I could, study real quick and then do well and test. But sitting still was like nuts for me. So I did a lot of art classes, and then I did acting classes. Yeah, I was the cat in Alice in Wonderland. I never got any big roles, but I don't know. I love the expression. Obviously I'm very emotional, as you can see with I flare a lot. It's great. Any creative outlet for me is great. That's bottom line. That's what I feel like I am, is just a creative. So, and I knew that when I went to college, but I knew I also didn't want to be broke. So that's why at the time, graphic design was just coming up. I mean, computers were just like coming out, like where people were buying them and there was programs on them. And so I got recruited by a graphic design school in Tempe, which was probably the worst graphic design school in the world, but they seemed so great to me, from a little girl from New Mexico. And so I knew, I thought that graphic design would be my outlet where I could be creative, but still have a career and make money. So that's,
And you crush in that area. I mean, really, with marketing specifically, I just I watched their stuff, and I remember even when Lovecraft opened, I was looking at the social, and I was like, cool. And then I looked again, and I was like 3,000 followers are you just blew it up, and you're so good at that, so good at being present.
Well, and if you think about it, she earned it too, right?
Yeah.
So she took that path, and you're looking at 6 years, with a certain company, and then all this training and different things. So I would like to right now squash the myth that you cannot make money as an actor, because you definitely can. So it is now time. It's time now for Brian Sweeney's Shameless Plug.
What is happening?
Shameless Plug.
I don't know why I made that face. All right. Acting is my day job. 7 strategies to market and make money as an actor. This book was written by Matthew Deering, and you can find it on Amazon and everywhere on the planet.
Which helps you step by step figure out how to systematically make money as an actor, because you definitely can, but it's a lot of hard work, just like anything else. So.
And it goes through talking about what Rebekah was saying, organization. So right in the middle, there's all these organizational points, audition trackers, little things on marketing, goals. And so we talk a lot here about this. We're doing it in the commercial class. In any business, you are a business, right? And so there's a lot of that in this book. And so check it out for sure.
And I mean, really, it's not just for acting. The principles in that book will take you far in life. That's it.
Wow, Joey, what a plug.
Oh, man.
I had to do
Joey Sweeney's plugs.
I had to add a cherry on top of that cake.
So Rebekah, how can we help you? What do you got going on you think we might be able to help with?
Well, one of the things I always admired about you is how all of you boys are just people adore you, and I think my biggest struggle in business, and it is literally the thing that I dislike the most. It's terrible to say because I see so many things and it's part of my job, but I don't like it. But is the management of the peeps, and that's that was the number one reason I didn't want to have my last restaurant anymore. It's just the constant management of people. And it comes back to probably that I'm a perfectionist and I'm super hard on myself. So then when I see other people not being perfect, I'm hard on them. It's never intentional. It really is just to try to make people better. But it doesn't come across that way in the delivery.
Sure.
My delivery, I've been chastised for my delivery of things, and I'm sorry to all the people that didn't appreciate the delivery of my helpfulness.
Yeah, and that's funny because you were. Here's my belief, and maybe your delivery wasn't good, and we should work on that. But there's something that I really firmly believe, which is the best kind of love is tough love, and it's the hardest to give. because anybody can look the other way and it's easy to ignore, but it's hard to be the one that's willing to say, hey, you need to get better in this area, and let me show you a mirror, and let me show you what you really look like, and let me try to help you get better, you know. And because nobody wants to hear it, like that's just it's just advice. Most people are not seeking the critique, which is what we teach. We teach like, hey, you want to be successful in anything, you have to be like craving to get better. You have to crave the critique. You should be looking for a coach who's gonna give you a mentorship and gonna like guide you, not a coach that's gonna say, hey, good job. You know, what's the point?
You're so right about that. And, you know, people always say, treat people how you want to be treated. That's how I like to be treated. I do so well when there's doubt from people. You know, there's just something that sparks inside of me that is like, oh, I'm going to just show you. You just wait. You know, and I've had hard critiquers all my life, and they are honestly the people I respect the most. Absolutely. So, you know, I just thought other people would appreciate that quality.
Yeah.
And you're right.
And
I don't want to hear it.
And so my advice for you, and I think maybe this will be something that you can take with you. One of the things that we've started doing here, I started doing this many years ago, was when I bring somebody on, I am just brutally honest. I literally try to talk them out of the job. So in order to get hired here, you have to go through a couple different stages, and when you get to me, if you get to me, I spend about a half hour trying to talk you out of working here. And I just tell you, like, hey, you're gonna get underpaid. You're gonna dislike it. You're gonna have harsh critiques. Like you're gonna be told a correction. Like I just tell them exactly what it is. And then at the end of that, I say, but I guarantee you, I'm gonna put you in position that you can succeed either here or elsewhere. But you're gonna cry, like 100%. Maybe within the first week, within the first month, like there's gonna be tears will be shed because this is the way that I operate. I operate a certain way that demands a certain thing out of people, because if you're working with me, like you're going to get the best of me today, which is better than yesterday. That I promise you that. And I expect that from you. I don't expect you to be me or to be anything you're not. I just expect you to be improving. So if that's for you and that sounds exciting for you, great. If not, hey, I think you're a cool person, very good, but we don't belong working together, you know? So that's the first thing. And I took that advice from a book when it came to marriage, which was just being very, very upfront and honest about expectations. Because it's sort of like if I expect one thing, you know, physically or you know, we have different expectations like with religion or whatever it is, but we didn't say it ahead of time. How do you hold somebody accountable for something that you didn't state? If I didn't state the expectation and then you don't meet my expectation that I didn't say, then it's my fault because I didn't communicate it to you, right? So I just applied that to business and to bringing people in here, and that's helped us find the right like-minded people and also just at least frame them ahead of time so that they were a little bit braced for the storm that was probably coming. Well,
and you talk, I mean, right into this grouping right here, right? And Rebekah said, like, you guys are so great and such great energy, right? I remember that resonated with me, that kind of speech. And it's how I started when I came back, Rebekah, after the coma and all that. Like, I had started and got going through some stuff, and that's when Matt really had this big, like, awakening in his life. He talks about it a lot, this huge new awakening. And he took me outside and basically said, hey, man, like, I'm going on this journey, and so you can either come with me or not. And you can either change your life and do these certain things or not. And I'm going to love you completely either way. Like, either way, I'm going to love you wherever you're at. Your family, I love you, genuinely. But I'm going to do this. We're doing this. This company's doing this. I want you to be a part of it, but it has to be your choice.
And I was like, and I can't work with you the way you're working.
Yeah.
Right? It was like
yes,
right
100%.
now, right now, the way you are and the way you operate doesn't belong with my vision. So you're either gonna shape up or get out. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was that direct.
Yeah.
But from love. Like, it started from love, sincere, you know, Lovecraft, passion, love, mastery. Mm-hmm. Like, it's got to come from love. And I think that might be the thing that potentially is lacking in the delivery, is make sure you start with the love, make sure that you've healed you first, Because I know anytime I've made the biggest mistakes has been when, like, exactly like you said, we talked about this yesterday, Brian. Like Brian would snap sometimes, and we were trying to figure out why, and he was like, "Oh, it was because I was feeling guilty." So he realized that he was feeling guilty about something. So then he was unable to take the critique or unable to deliver information a certain way because he was punishing himself, and then it wouldn't come out right. So if you heal you first, forgive you first, then start with love, but then you're very honest. I mean, then they're either gonna ship up or shape out or whatever,
Right.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That's right.
And then there's the other concept that we just kind of started doing, but I really like, is when you give the critique, when you feel the tension, when you get into those situations, because it comes from love, because we know that as a team and trust each other, we've decided that, like, whenever it feels like that, we're going to talk to each other and also bring up the positives of the situation, you know? So hey, maybe you need to get better at this thing. Like, that's a serious thing. The critique is still there, but just so you know, the stuff you're doing over here is really good. That's why I need you to get better over here.
Yeah,
and then it makes it so much easier to push forward positively through the critique.
100%. And we get to this place where also you have to earn that, though. You have to earn the positive. So when I and it's so easy how to earn it. It's like, here's the truth. The truth is you didn't do this thing, didn't do it well, didn't do it to the best of your ability, didn't whatever. You fight me on that, we're going to keep fighting until you understand I don't care. I'm not trying to criticize. I'm trying to make you better. Well, as soon as you can say that's true, then I can go, great. Now let me tell you all the things you did well, that did really well. So then, but it doesn't matter how great you do whatever. If you don't finish strong, who cares? So then we go, okay, all this stuff is good. Take the win and also take the critique, and then let's move forward and get better together, right?
Yeah.
And so if you know the good is coming, as long as you're willing to be honest with yourself for growth, and then you deliver on the good, then people are going to be quicker to accept that, yeah, they have shortcomings, because we all do, you know? I mean, you'll be the first to say you have shortcomings, so then you're like, if I'm willing to say it, why aren't you willing to say it? It's not that hard.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it sounds like, Matt, I didn't know we were so similar in that sense. Yeah, I mean, you sound very much like me, you know. That's the being honest with people and really just wanting them to see the potential that they could possibly have, and trying to verbalize it and express it to them so that they can get better. It's amazing how many people don't take that opportunity to just listen and see what the potential in that is. I mean, nobody obviously likes to not be perfect, but there's just so much opportunity when somebody who has been through it or who can see something beyond what you can gives you a piece of advice or, you know, tries to help you through something. And it's amazing how many people turn that down, and it just ruins your personal growth that you could really have in life, you know. And
as a leader, it can make you feel bitter a little bit when you're trying to give help and people don't receive it. And you feel like you're like banging your head against the wall, and you realize, like, hey, look how far you've come because of these critiques. I don't understand why you don't want this, you know. So there just is that little pushback area. But I always say to myself, you know, it does come down to the delivery. At the end of the day, it comes down to, am I approaching it from love? Period. And if I didn't, let me say sorry. Really, let me sincerely say sorry up front. And be okay with that, because I also believe in the words "I'm sorry." Like, it's not that hard to apologize, you know. Just be wrong. It's okay.
Yeah, and sometimes and that's so true. I mean, and that's one of the things that I took on very early on in my life is recognizing when I was wrong and just to say I was wrong and try to move on from that point. And I mean, just the other day we had a situation where, you know, it was, you know, your environment is much different than mine. I always feel like I have to address things immediately. One, I'll probably forget about it by the end of the night. And two, we don't have time to keep making mistakes if they keep happening. You know, we have to fix them right then and there. and something happened, and another staff member overheard it, and he thought he heard something else and was really offended by it. And this is somebody, I'm actually have an amazing staff right now. We're super tight. We are like a family. It's everything that I ever wanted in a staffing situation. And so later on, I pulled him outside, and I said, listen, I want to explain. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry that I had to do it right then and there, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood what I was saying. And number two, I want to really explain what I was saying so you understand that you know, what you heard is not what I was saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the delivery has definitely changed. I've worked so hard. I mean, we're talking therapy. I took mindful classes. I have learned to literally leave if I have to now. Like if I gotta go, I gotta go. You know, and that space, whatever that little space is, has really changed me as a manager and my approach to, situations. You know, it's,
I read a book by Kevin Hart he has out, or it's an audiobook, and he says something in there that really hit me hard, and it's kind of transformed me a little bit, so I'm going to share it with you. And it was his, because he went through the same thing you and I are talking about here, and he said, I had to learn to know when to just look the other way. And sometimes I don't have to bring it up. Sometimes I don't.
So hard.
I know, and it's a discipline. But what's interesting, what I found is I took that advice, and it's not that it tends to come up anyway eventually, or the person ends up actually fixing it themselves sometimes. So there's like that, but I'm talking about the little things, because I used to grind over tiny little things, you know.
Yeah.
Like tiny little things, and I'm going, okay, eventually, if I don't pick on every little tiny thing, the big stuff gets helped. And then I always try to demonstrate and then explain the why. Because if I don't explain the why, then again, I can't hold you accountable for whatever. You know, like this cord should be wound here and should be tight here, and you should leave the the headphones a certain way. You know, and I'll just say, hey, you know, here's my station, here's how I leave it, here's why I leave it that way. Because otherwise, it's gonna break, and then we have to buy all this stuff again, and it's like we can't afford that. So here's the deal: this is how it goes, and then it's up to you. And then the little tiny things, okay, fine, but then eventually it's like there's the big lesson, which is leave your space beautiful. You know, that's how it should be.
Wow.
I'd like to jump on a total side note here.
Jump on it, bro.
Based on it. Because there is this aspect, right? And I really do believe, like you said, tough love is a powerful thing, but love is right there. And so I want to take a moment just to talk about Rebekah as a person, excuse me, and how just awesome she is. I'm going to sound really raspy, but she just, like, I remember when I got out of the hospital, like, same way, there are certain people and communities that rally around you, and you were one of them. And there was just this power that came from that made me feel so very special. I'm getting all emotional about it, but that's the kind of thing that you create, that Matt creates. Like it's undescribable. Like if somebody tried to like put it on a thing, go like, that's what that is. Like I don't know how to do it, but you created that for me as a person, as a customer, and that's why I continue to talk about your place, because it's not about the food, it's not about the drinks, just like here, it's not about the acting, it's about the type of space and community that you create and the way that you're able to make people feel like they're family, like they matter, you know? And there's so much power in that. So I just wanted to speak on that for a second. And for those who go to see Lovecraft, like, you'll experience it as soon as you're there. Like, that's the kind of thing that is there. And so I just want to just speak on that and let you know how important that was to me in my journey. It meant so much to me, and that's the kind of thing we do when we're willing to do these hard things to create the right kind of place for people to be.
Yeah. Because
if you don't, it won't be that way.
Yeah, thank you. And Brian, you know, you create an energy when you come in, and that's one thing that I say a lot, and I know that there's places that allow anybody just to come in and spread, but there's just sometimes people aren't right for our space, and it's their energy. I want the energy that you have in our space. And that's, you know, appreciation and love and cool and just a great vibe. And that's the kind of stuff we want coming through our door. The people who want to pick on everything and not understand what the bigger picture is, they're just not meant for us. And so thank you for your compliment, but it's also because of you and your energy that you've brought, that it's made a beautiful 32 Shades of Beautiful place, and Lovecraft is beautiful because of that. And I think people can feel that when they walk in the door. That's why I was saying, like, when we went to Takeout, it was like that energy was gone. Everybody was just in this frantic state of in and out and stress. And now that we have people back in there, you can really feel that vibe in there. And I love it. It's great. It's a great, powerful thing. And you're right. So thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you.
Well, and Lovecraft has sort of become the after chaos show spot. Before everything hit,
which we haven't had recently, but yeah.
And big news came out a couple of days ago. We are going to come back to shows.
Yeah,
right away.
Yeah.
Which means that's a meditation. Which means that we are going to be back in as a troupe in your place after the show. So something I definitely look forward to.
Yeah, we've opened up the space quite a bit now. So we kind of got rid of our game room, and now the space has a lot more space.
No, not the game room. How am I supposed to slap my improv troupe members in ping pong?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Perfect. All right, well, this was an awesome conversation about business and about love and how to bring love into the business and how to manage people and all that. It's very complicated, and you know, one thing I'll say to everybody is remember to give each other the benefit of the doubt. So when you look at somebody, and even if they're having a bad day or they say something, you know, it's not perfect, try to get to the core of it. And are they trying to help you? Is it because of love? And if you can find that thing, you'll probably find the good in whatever it is they're trying to say, and you can kind of just dismiss some of the bad stuff. I think that's all right. Well, thank you, Rebekah, for being on the show. Sure appreciate you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me. It's I miss seeing you guys. It's good to see you all together.
Well, we'll be in very soon, I promise. All right, everybody, this has been Mornings with Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. It means the world to us, helps us to spread this light-driven content to the planet. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.